Afternoon, guys, and welcome back to the Kieran Clubbing Racing Show. This episode coming on Monday afternoon. I'm going to try something a little bit different. I put a poll out last week to see if people would be interested in potentially going through a few. Like, obviously, jump season just started. Very excited for it. And I think that the midweek racing, obviously, this episode will cover Tuesday to Thursday as Cheltenham is on Friday, and I will be doing a podcast for that on Wednesday. I just don't think that the race potentially there's people out there that cover the racing between Tuesday and Thursday this week. We're talking about. I know people are saying, well, it's not the best of racing. You got Class 5, Class 4 race, but there is potential in the novice divisions in both chases and hurdles. And I'm going to touch on a few of those today that have come through for this week that could be potentially decent. So starting with tomorrow being Tuesday, we've got Perth and Exeter tomorrow. I've looked through the Exeter card. There's nothing that really stands out in either the novice, either the hurdles or the chases. But there is a few decent races up at Perth tomorrow. The first one being the Mares Maiden Hurdle, the 115 over 2 miles, where Centurion's sister for Nikki Richards runs Asden's Chancery Point for Lucinda Russell. Now these two actually met in a bumper couple of 2 starts back up at Musselburgh, where was it Musselburgh? Market Raisin, sorry, where Chancery Point actually won, beating. And Centurion's sister was third in the race. They definitely could be 2 horses that are potentially going to be on the decent side of things especially up the north. There's not any. There's a couple from down south that have gone up to take them on, but these two look very likeable types, and I'd like to think they will be winning races this season. Obviously, I haven't got prices yet for tomorrow, but certainly Centurion's sister, and Chancery Point will be on my shortlist looking at tomorrow's racing. The 150 is the maiden hurdle of a 2 mile fall. And again, Lucinda Russell has a horse in here that is very highly regarded, and that's Sledard. I think I'm pronounced that correctly. Sledar. Point-to-point winner, who was second in a decent bumper over the track behind Wheelstar, of Ollie Murphy's, who's been highly touted. I know Sean Bowen said on a few podcasts down the line that he likes Wheelstar a lot. And Sledar was pretty decent in behind, but I think he was staying on very nice. I think a trip would definitely be suited. He's probably going to be a 3 mile, being a point-to-point winner. You think he'd be going to be 3 miles down the line, but starting here over 2 mile fall, this could be a decent opportunity for him to get off the mark at the first time of asking. And then the other race I'm going to touch on the Tuesday is probably the race of the day, and there's only 3 runners, and it's the Beginner's Chase at 3 o'clock with 2 mile fall. You've got Triply Flyer for Fergal O'Brien here, who everybody knows me will know that I love this horse. I think he's an absolutely decent animal. Obviously, didn't fire at Aintree when sent off 7-4 favourite that day, so they obviously fought a lot because he was very well backed. But he obviously won up at Kempton very nicely, won really well at Musselburgh the time before that, and was a decent run last time out when finishing 3rd at Punchestown. I think all his best form is right-handed. There was talk that they were going to save him for the Ladbroke Hurdle at Ascot and have one more run over hurdles before going chasing, but they've decided to come here first, and obviously, like I say, he's going right-handed. Fergal O'Brien has a decent record up at Perth when sending runners up there. He will be in with a decent chance, and if this was a average renewal, you think he'd be hard to beat. But the other 2 horses in the race are very good as well. The second one is Kingston Pride of Ollie Murphy's. Nice winner over hurdles last time when formerly trained by Nicky Henderson. Obviously sold to Ollie Murphy. Now in the different ownership as well. Diane Waitley colours, the very famous colours for that Murphy's got. He's got plenty of horses with those owners. But yeah, they were very excited about him. They're very keen to have him. Obviously, they've had a recent purchase of Stick in the Plan that won the Persian War last time out. So the whole yard's going very the weekend before. Sorry, So Yard's in very good form with the newcomers, and he could be a decent proposition as well this season over fences. And the last one, the third one of the three in the race, is Jet to Vegas. Again for Lucinda Russell. His horse had very underrated last season, notably winning. He then went on to win the Kelso, big Premier handicap there. Before disappointing at Aintree when he ran there, said to come back slightly lame, so hopefully, but he's built like a chaser. They said that chasing will be the making of him now. If he's going to improve from that form he showed at Kelso, then there's definitely plenty to like about this horse, especially going into chases this season. So this race could be really, really hot and really competitive, and it would probably be a watching brief for me. They couldn't pick. If I had to pick one, it would be Tripoli, because I'm a big fan of the horse. But there's a lot in here that could be very interesting. They certainly all should be winning races this season. We then move on to Wednesday. You have Worcester on Wednesday, just the only jumps card on the Wednesday program. We'll start with the 1 o'clock, the beginner's chase. Now, there's only 5 runners in this race, but a bit like the beginner's chase that's running on tomorrow, but per 5 runners, but all very quality animals in the race. I think this is because of the way the ground's been. I think now it's currently raining as we speak, so the rain's getting into the ground. The trainers just need to get the horses out, need to get them running. So the 5 runners, you've got Excello for Jane Williams, who she is touted as potentially being a handicap novice chaser down the line, but comes here, goes well fresh. Would normally, in very similar, it would have a chance in a slightly weaker renewal of this, but this is a very strong renewal. You've got Pick Rock, who's still a novice after being going chasing last season. He was put up as a dark horse by Ben Pauling in one of the podcasts I've seen, so generally Ben Pauling thinks a lot of him. He thinks he's very well handicapped, and it could be that this is a prep run. I know that he's mentioned that the Coral Gold Cup is potentially the plan for this horse down the line. Pony Soprano won it at Exeter over hurdles last season. For the Skeltons, now you never know with the Skeltons what they're going to be doing. Obviously, Harry doesn't ride. He's not there at Worcester on Wednesday. Tristan Durrell takes the ride. I think this might be a schooling day for this horse, potentially for a handicap down the line. I know they've got plenty of ammunition in the novice chase division. I think the ones that come out this time of the year, you would think are more going to have the run first and then be aimed at handicap later on down the line. Wade Out is in here for Ollie Murphy. They actually said that they potentially were going to take in the silver trophy before going chasing. They didn't go there. They now come to this race, and he's actually got an entry in the Grand Sefton as well over 3 miles. They think 3 miles on a fence will be the making of this horse, and anything he's done at hurdles is a blessing in disguise. So hopefully he will take to a fence. He's very interested in this race. And of course, at the last one, which is Wendigo for Jamie Snowden. 5th in the Albert Bartlett last season, and then obviously 2nd in the Challow as well, behind the New Lion. Very decent form as well. Obviously very unlucky in the Albert Bartlett, but still finishing a very gallant 5th in the race. Jamie Snowden's not been hidden anything away with this. He's very bullish about him going chasing, and this could be a very, very good starting point for him over 2 mile 4. Obviously, he was meant to run a couple of Sundays ago up Chepstow, but the ground was too quick, so they come here instead. So this 2 mile 4 beginner's chase looks very exciting on paper at Worcester on Wednesday. We then got the 2 mares novices hurdles to touch on, just a few horses in each of those. The Division 1, Get a Whiskey for Dan Skelton. He won at both Carlisle and Market Raising in bumpers last season. They believe he's very smart. Has come out and said that they're potentially going to keep her in the mares division, try and win plenty of racing there, and hopefully aim her at the mares final at Newbury at the back end of the season. They think she's that good, and hopefully they are right. And if they are, this could be a very good race for these in this sphere. You've got three runs Mary, who comes here for Ollie Murphy, obviously a non-runner a couple of days ago. She won at Wincanton and then was third at Newbury. Subsequently, the winner of that race has actually come out and won since. The name quite escapes me who it was now, so that's decent form. So that's another decent prospect going hurdling. Highland Haven for Fergal O'Brien. Fourth at Newton Abbot on debut when sent off very short price. Now, I think, honestly, looking back at that race, I'm not sure whether she was left out the back intentionally just to get used to jumping hurdles, etc. But she looked like a horse that very much needs a bit of a trip. So I'm quite surprised they've stuck to 2 miles. But obviously, I'm not a trainer myself. We should see. Hopefully, she shows a bit more improvement for a second outing over hurdles. The O'Brien team will certainly be hoping for that as well. And then probably the eye of the race is for Heron in the Park of Tom George's. Won the Goff's bumper up at Newbury. Back end of last season, won it very impressively. The second has come out and won since. The form looks very strong. A lot of people are touting this horse to go on the big and better things. And I think she's definitely found a decent race in which to start in. I know it's only a Worcester maiden hurdle, but there's a few decent types in here, and it could be a very, very good race and a very good point. Fair few winners could be coming out of this one. And then the 310, the second division of this race, the couple in here that take my fancy. Jetty May for Paul Nichols. Came to him from Fergal O'Brien over the summer. Was unplaced in bumpers as a mare. Unplaced in bumpers last season, in mares bumpers. Surprising, they did say that they were going to start off in bumpers and then potentially go straight into hurdles after that. But they've decided to go straight hurdling. Obviously, she must be schooling well at home. The only concern I have with this is that the majority of Paul Nichols, and I will mention it for another one of his who runs later on, who I've got listed for later on for Thursday's reading. Most of his seem to be needing the run. Obviously, we've had a lot of disappointments he would have had over the weekend and stuff like that. Obviously, Blue King Daru got beat, a lot of short odds on. A couple of others that got beat at the weekend and certainly looked like they needed the run. So you potentially just keep a close eye on that. And then the other one in the race that took my fancy was White Noise of Kim Bailey's. A very good third on debut over hurdles, but she looked like she needed a bit further in time and potentially could be a handicapper down the line. But just note that she could be winning races when going into handicaps. But I just thought I'd give her a mention that she's running here in her second hurdle start. We then go over to Fontwell and Ludlow on Thursday. Just the one race to cover at Fontwell, and it's the 2:15. Obviously, we don't have decks as of yet, so I very much doubt most of these are turning up, but you never know. Silver Hall is the first one to talk about for Jamie Snowden's, was running a bumper at Market Raisin. Irish point-to-point winner. Will probably need further in time, but this is a good starting point over 2 mile 3. Bespoke and Taylor for Ollie Signer. First start for the trainer, sold for 90 grand. Formerly trained, I can't remember he's formerly trained by now. But he's also entered at Ludlow as well in the 137 on the same day. So you'd like to think that he's going to take one of these engagements. But for a small trainer, he's very excited about this horse. They think a lot of him. And they think that he's going to be a decent horse down the line. I think he's looking at this list, he might potentially go to Ludlow because there's a lot of very nice types in this opening race at Fontwell on Thursday. Kachisenko is the next in line for Anti Honeyball. Ran really well last time out at Punchestown. Obviously, they think a lot of him. The fact that they took him to the Punchestown Festival must think a lot of him, and he's now makes his hurdles debut. They've also got Fontaine's Blood Hayne in the race as well, who has won a decent, ran okay in a bumper at the track, actually won at the track in a bumper last season, but and again, another type that one could mean 2 mile 3, 2 mile 4, so this could be right up his street, and he could be really, really good. Then you've got, sorry about that, Constantino of Ollie again of Aussie Signers, one at Market Raisin. And they think, again, like Bespoke and Taylor, he could be quite smart. So, like I said, Bespoke and Taylor could go to Ludlow, and he could be the one that takes his chance here. And then two more. Cool Kid, Joe Tizards, won a bumper very, very impressively up at Hereford, and then was put away because he needs slightly more cut in the ground. Obviously, we'll get that the way the rain's coming down currently. But he could be a nice type for the maiden hurdles this season. And the last one to talk about is Doctor On Call for Paul Nicholls. Again, another winner of a bumper at Hereford. They're very excited about this horse. I mentioned him in my stable tour. Paul Nicholls is. They think highly of this horse by Dr. Dino. And I hope they are hoping for big things for this horse. So this, like I said, we haven't had decks yet. It'll be interesting to see who turns up. But this could be very, very interesting. Maiden hurdle indeed. Could come, plenty of winners could come from it. So that's just a few of the races that I've covered over the week. I hope you all enjoyed the video. It's something a bit different, looking at novice hurdles and beginners chases for the coming for this week. And then obviously, like I said, we have Cheltenham on Friday and Saturday, which I'll be doing previews for Wednesday and Thursday. I hope you can all join me for that. Please like and subscribe for the channel and drop me a few comments if you like the video. If you want me to do more of these sort of videos, then let me know. But thanks again for listening, guys, and happy punting to you all.